This movie is a beautiful shit show. I don't understand how people can't like this movie. It's pure comedy gold. I feel like this review needs a bit of background to be justified. So in the early 2000s, a book series named after this guy called Harry Potter was getting its own set of movies, and they made a couple of bucks, I guess. And it was then that every Hollywood executive was like, guys, we need our own Harry Potters. And chief among them was Percy Jackson and his mediocre summer movie. They really bet on this movie turning into a series that made them a bunch of money in the long run. I mean, they even hired Chris Columbus as the director, who, if you didn't know, had previously worked on the first 3 Harry Potter movies. So this is a man who should know his shit, so why do people hate this movie? It truly boggles me that no one can understand how glorious this gem is. The movie starts off with a piss-poor, boring attempt at character development. Percy is our main character. He has a best friend named Grover, hates school, loves his mom, and has a gross stepdad. That's all you need to know, and that's about all you're gonna get for the rest of the movie. About the only things that make Percy unique are the fact that he has ADHD and dyslexia.
I think this, dyslexia thing is getting worse.
Oh, why do you think that?
I don't know. Maybe it's the ADHD.
And that he likes water.
That's crazy, man. That's ridiculous. How do you do it?
I just like being in water.
That's about it. And they only say those 3 things so they can call back to them later in the movie. But we'll get to that. So Percy goes on a field trip to the local museum with his school to go look at some Greek stuff.
On several occasions, they would come down to Earth and, how shall I put this?
Hook up?
They would hook up with mortals. The children of these unions were half god, half human. Can anyone tell me what they were called? Percy.
Oh, I'm sorry, what? What, Mr. Bummer?
What is the proper name of the offspring of a human and a god?
Demigod.
And many became great heroes, like Hercules and Achilles. Can you name another?
Percy. Perseus?
After that extremely subtle exposition, Percy's other chaperone teacher leads him away from the group. Hopefully to make something interesting happen, and somehow no one notices. Also, let me just say that Percy makes some great faces throughout this movie that I just feel like they need to be seen.
So, did I do something wrong? Miss Dodds? Hello?
Where is it?
Anyway, it turns out Percy's teacher is actually a demon sent by Hades to kill Percy. Grover and, I think his name was Mr. Burney, bust in out of nowhere to save Percy. And this scene, let me tell you, the acting in this scene is part of why I love this movie so much.
Release him or I swear I'll tear you to pieces!
Oh, I'm going crazy. Oh, I should be on medication. Percy, calm down, okay? Everything's gonna be okay.
Oh, God, wait. Did that really just happen?
Sorry. Concealed in our school, I should have known.
Tear her to pieces.
What did she want from you?
She said something about me stealing a lightning bolt.
They found him.
Long story short, Grover decides to be as unhelpful and evasive as possible.
Not seeing what I'm seeing. You have crutches.
Look, I would give my life to secure your well-being.
What are you talking about? What's going on?
We gotta warn your mom.
He forces Percy back to his mom's house so he can assault Percy's stepdad, and then he kidnaps both Percy and his mom so they can take a drive into the woods. Nothing weird there. But before we get there, Percy finally asks a question an actual human would say.
Where are you taking me? What is this camp?
It's a camp for really special people. Like you.
It's special people. What? Am I crazy or something?
That actually clears a lot of stuff up. Percy is indeed very special.
Percy, this is about your father.
Mom just decides they'll be more dramatic to wait a couple hours before continuing her story.
Your father was unlike any guy I'd ever seen. He was just dazzling.
But uh-oh, they're being followed. And just before Mom drops some actual exposition,
Why did he have to go?
Because he's.
Sally, watch out!
Grover, you alright?
Is it me or is it raining cows? My job.
Whoa, whoa! You're half donkey?
I'm half goat.
what an epic line, Grover.
What is that?
Come on, get out the car! That thing's getting closer!
So now they're running, and they're running, and they're running, and I guess the Minotaur that was chasing them got distracted or something because he is just nowhere to be seen.
Mom, what are you doing? Look, I'm not leaving without you.
You have to! You're meant to!
Okay, this annoyed me probably more than it should have, but there is no way that Percy did not notice a 17-foot tall Minotaur sneak quietly behind his mom. It made zero step. Was it like invisible? What's going on here?
Use the pen!
What?
Use Bunny's pen and click it.
Percy does not seem to react at all to his mom combusting in front of him. But who cares about that? We have an epic man v Minotaur battle to see. Percy manages to pass out despite having no signs of being tired before this. But the director didn't know how to end the scene, so here we are.
Percy, I'm sure glad you're alive.
He wakes up to Griever. Oh, my Griever. What? Percy wakes up to Grover creeping all over him, and that makes me think that this is going to be a good part of the movie. But sadly, it's not. It's just a cliched, it wasn't a dream and it was all real scene. Which is always fun.
So, Percy, what do you remember?
Some crazy dream. I don't know. There was a monster. My mom was there. Well, you were there too, but you were some weird hybrid man-goat thing. Whoa.
Yeah, the politically correct term is satyr.
No, 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 no. All of it was real? My mom's gone?
I'm sorry, Percy. I tried, man, I really do. Frankly, I'm just a junior protector. I don't have my horns yet.
After that truly touching crappy dialogue, we are thrust into the long-awaited exposition dump that the movie has needed for so long.
So, this is Camp Half-Blood.
Half meaning what?
I think you know. Half meaning half mortal, half god. Remember what Mr. Bruner said? Sometimes they come down to Earth and they fall in love with mortals, and then they have kids?
No way.
Yes way. Yep, you're a demigod. 2 points for Percy Jackson. Look, don't worry, but you're not alone. There's hundreds in the world. Some lead normal lives, and some I'm not allowed to divulge their names are very famous. I'm talking about like White House famous.
I think you have the wrong guy, all right? I'm not a hero. I'm a loser. I have dyslexia, ADHD.
And those are your greatest gifts. When you try to read, the words float off the page, right? That's because your brain's hardwired for ancient Greek, not English.
Like, at the museum, I can read.
Yeah. And your ADHD? You're impulsive, Percy. You can't be still. Those are your natural battle reflexes, man. This is where you do most of your battle training.
What's her name?
She would squash you like a bug.
her name?
Annabeth, daughter of Athena, the goddess of wisdom.
But we're not done yet. Grover has one more surprise for Percy. So, as it turns out, Percy's teacher, Mr. Barney, was also not a human.
What are those things?
The centaurs.
It amazes me that Percy doesn't know what a centaur is.
Bruner?
In my world, I'm known as Chiron.
The next scene is just Chiron giving Percy his own house, which was built by his father?
Your father built this for you.
So the only thing noteworthy that actually happens here is Percy makes probably the biggest revelation of the entire movie.
Seems he got some weight to it. My father's Poseidon. Why didn't anybody tell me?
Then out of nowhere, Percy just gets in touch with his inner edgelord.
Why am I even here?
You're here because you're in jeopardy. Everyone thinks you're the lightning thief. And if it's not returned by the summer solstice in 10 days, there will be a war.
This is your problem, all right? Not mine. This is about your world, not mine.
This is about all worlds.
Look, trust
To me, it just looks like Percy is wearing leather, and there is no reason it should be that heavy. So the whole camp is preparing for a game of capture the flag. And since Percy's the new kid, we have to sit through some really awkward introductions. And honestly, the extras are carrying this scene on their reactions alone.
This is Percy Jackson. And he's gonna need a team.
We're then introduced to Luke, the camp counselor.
I'm Luke, son of Hermes and camp leader. Not necessarily in that order.
Who invites Percy to the blue team, which makes Annabeth jealous, I guess?
Where's your helmet?
No one gave me one.
Chiron, you still got your wheelchair? Kid's gonna need it. You're a goner, man. I'm messing with you. Smile a little bit. It's good for you, kid. Anybody got an extra helmet? Please pass it up. Here's my friend.
All right, everyone.
And next thing you know, the game is starting. Percy actually does something smart and goes to look for the red team's flag. And he hits the jackpot because apparently the red team decided to hide their flag 13 feet away from everyone else.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Did you really think it would be that easy?
A wild Annabeth approaches. Let's see how the cornered Percy uses his wits and charm to win this encounter.
My mother is goddess of wisdom and battle strategy. Do you know what that means? I always win.
I always lose. Maybe we're both wrong.
For some reason, everyone shows up at the exact same time just to watch Percy get his butt kicked.
Stand up and fight, hero.
Also, why is everybody on the red team celebrating? They still haven't got the blue flag, right? Do they know how to play capture the flag? To me, it just seemed like Annabeth gave Percy a couple of skin-deep cuts, but he acts like he's on the verge of dying here.
The water will give you power.
Oh yeah, Percy's ready to fuck some bitches now. Oof. Percy's sword did not even come near to touching that guy. The water not only healed Percy, but it also gave him like a quick tutorial on how to use the sword, because he's suddenly a badass now. Now the blue team starts celebrating when Percy picks up the red flag, even though that's still not how you play capture the flag. You're supposed to bring it back to your home base, but you know.
It's a camp for really special people, like you.
So fast forward later in the day, and everyone just loves Percy now. Grover gives him an entourage.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, the son of Poseidon is coming through.
These three girls, who I guess are supposed to be nymphs.
Beat it, nymphs.
Yeah, nymphs, invite Percy to a party.
We're having a party at our place later.
And we would really love it if you came.
I would love to come. That'd be great.
That would be amazing.
It'd be great.
I would love to come too to the party. You know, thanks for inviting me, ladies.
And, best of all, he has another chance to have no chemistry with Annabeth. Percy is living the dream life right now. So, yeah, this is Hades, by the way. He thinks Percy stole Zeus's lightning bolt. Don't know why, never explained. He also was apparently responsible for Percy's mom exploding.
Mom? Percy.
So Percy says he's gonna adventure to the underworld to save his mom. Chiron says that's a stupid idea, and I agree with him. But Percy says fuck that noise, and sneaks out the same night to go save his mom. He's shortly joined by Annabeth and Grover, who also want to save his mom for some reason.
One small victory and you're ready to fight Hades?
Ooh, double team.
Really? You two?
But none of them know what they're doing.
Okay. I guess we're all going.
So, who knows how to get to the underworld?
Did not think of that one. I mean, what is this camp?
It's a camp for really special people, like you.
So for help, they go to Luke's private cabin mansion. Like, why? First Percy, now Luke. Why does everyone have their own house at this camp with like 200 plus people? Anyway, Luke is a gamer, and he just so happens to have every single thing they'll need for their quest. Actually, before I continue, this is a good time to explain how rushed the pacing for this movie is. Everything that Percy has done for the last like 30 or 40 minutes has taken place over the course of one day. Actually, less than a day. He woke up at like noon, he learned Grover was a goat, he learned the Greek gods were real and his life was a lie, and he stared at Annabeth for like an hour, and he won Capture the Flag, except not really. Like, a lot of shit happened today, and now he's going on an adventure to hell to save his mom, and there's just no sense of the passage of time, and it continues like that through the entire movie. Anyway, back at Luke's gaming mansion, he gives the crew a shield, a pair of flying Hermes shoes, a map that tells them where to go and what to do, and lastly he gives them some teenage angst to send them off.
Nah, don't mention it. But, you're gonna have to promise me one thing. If you see my dad on the highway to hell,
Yeah?
kick his ass for me.
So their first stop is Auntie M's Garden Emporium, where all they really do is dick around for a few minutes.
Hello?
Hello? Anybody home in Annieville? Check this out. They got free sodas. Okay, that's nasty. The health department needs to get this place an F.
Eventually, Percy and company decide to split up, because that's always a smart idea. But they find out things are actually weirder than they thought.
Oh, check this out. He's just like Marco Ferdinand. That's crazy. We got them all in the same place. Yeah.
I'm honestly a little surprised Percy even knows who Medusa is. I mean, this is the kid that didn't even know what a centaur was. Medusa shows up, then Grover runs Medusa over with a truck. Percy chops off her head.
Heads up.
And Grover takes it as a souvenir.
Just toss it up. Come on, don't. Ugh.
Hey. Guys, wait.
And they also get their first pearl. I guess I should explain why they're collecting these. So the reason they're collecting these pearls is because after they reach the underworld, the pearls will allow them to escape. And the map they got somehow knows they have the first pearl and shows them where the second one is? I don't know. It's not really clear.
Parthenon in Nashville. Nashville? Oh, great. Home of my least favorite music. Yeah!
But before we get there, the group decides to stop for some R&R to organize the events of the past day and a half.
For really special people. Like you.
Percy. Hey,
What's your mom like?
I don't know. I never met her.
What? Wait, is it like this for everybody? Don't any gods see their kids?
Why is that surprising? After everything that's happened to you in the last 2 days, is that really something that warrants your shock?
Although, between us, I think my mother speaks to me sometimes. In times of trouble,
Right.
Hey, hurry up! Percy, check this out, man. You're on TV.
Surrounding the missing boy, Percy Jackson, and his mother, Sally Ugliano. But their relatives have some interesting theories.
So, Mr. Ugliano, talk to me about your son, Percy Jackson.
No, he's not my son. He's stepson. He did not come from these loins.
I love this movie.
Oh, guys. I can't pee with her watching me.
Convenient misunderstanding is convenient.
Sorry, guys. I messed up.
The next day, they make it to Nashville and are able to find the second pearl. Thankfully, Percy hatches a brilliant plan to get the pearl without anyone seeing them. Now, Percy's plan is going off without a hitch, but they do run into one small problem. The cleaning crew is there. But have no fear, Annabeth is here. She pulls a tiny crossbow out of her ass and merges the problem away. Annabeth continues with her magic show and materializes a laptop from thin air so she can FaceTime with Luke for some tips. Luke looks like he's on a set for Survivor.
It's gonna take some practice.
There it is.
Percy retrieves the second marble and celebrates preemptively by giving Annabeth a very one-sided hug.
Look, I got this, okay? Hey, guys, I'm with Park Recreational Services. You guys been caught sleeping on the job? You better be happy I'm not writing you guys up, okay? This is the last time.
We've been expecting you, Mr. Jackson.
Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Just give us the lightning bolt and we'll let you go.
I don't have the lightning bolt.
Okay, this is bad.
How would that even work? Percy chops off the heads of the Hydra because he's an idiot. And also Grover's an idiot too, even though he grew up with this stuff.
How flippin' awesome was that? I just killed that thing.
Killed it? You only made it worse.
What are you talking about?
Percy, when you cut off one Hydra head,
2 more grow back.
Meanwhile, Annabeth is... Wait, what? Okay, this is getting a little ridiculous now. Where did Annabeth get a fully strung bow and a quiver full of arrows? She was using knives just a couple scenes ago. Like, what happened to them? So Percy makes a break for the marble, and the Hydra corners him. And in his desperation, the Force awakens, and he's able to subdue the Hydra. And then Grover pretty much does the rest. He even gets a chance to say his signature line.
That's nasty.
We then cut to them just eating some victory food. So I guess they just left the Hydra statue at the museum. I'm sure no one would mind.
Let's see. Oh, guys. We got ourselves a good one. We're going to Vegas!
Surprisingly, this driving sequence doesn't have music, unlike the last two, which I appreciate. But the only thing that achieves is it makes it look less like a music video and more like an ad for Vegas.
Oh, there it is. Lotus Casino.
Here's your complimentary Lotus Fun Book.
Oh, thanks, but we're not staying.
Please, yeah, I insist. It's good for everything in the hotel and casino.
Don't comp us. We're not checking in.
Okay, that guy was persistent.
Yeah.
The guy only asks them like 2 times, which seems pretty normal for someone who works at a casino. But Percy needs to let the audience know that this casino is pretty shady. What you're about to see are the best parts of this movie. So prepare yourself for this.
Wow, this is the most delicious thing I've ever consumed.
Wow. Guys, why don't we stay here for a while?
That sounds like an amazing idea. But we're on a time-sensitive mission right now. Aren't we?
I can't remember.
I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
I think I figured it out. I think I know why we're here.
Why are we here?
To have fun.
Okay. Let's never leave. Let's stay here.
Oh, this is hilarious, and how I wish this was the entire movie. But apparently we have some kind of plot we're supposed to get back to. Percy eventually figures out that he was just really, really high, so he goes to get his friends because they still have stuff to do.
Whoa, what are you doing with that? Don't eat that.
What?
We have to go now.
What are you doing? We're having so much fun.
No, we're not having fun. Grover, wake up. Grover, come on, we gotta go.
What? Look, Percy, your timing is terrible, okay? Dude, we heading to the chapel. We getting married.
Romantic.
No.
Wait, which one of y'all proposed to?
Wake up!
After he convinces Grover and Annabeth, they have a bar/casino fight scene for some reason, and it's pretty great. They retrieve the last pearl, steal a car, and the movie becomes Fast and Furious for like a split second, and then they escape.
In there for 5 days.
Felt like hours.
Then tomorrow's the solstice. Our deadline is tomorrow at midnight.
Okay, look, we gotta move it. Where's Hades?
You, having some trouble with that map there, Percy?
It's in Hollywood.
All right. I can get us there in 4 hours. Maybe 3.
So they make it to a Hollywood sign. Percy reads some ancient Greek graffiti,
Woe to all depraved souls.
and as a result, a vagina cave opens up and leads to the underworld.
Who's that creepy guy with a hoodie? I don't know. Let's find out.
Is the pen sword really necessary right now, Percy?
We need to see Hades.
The living are not permitted here. Die and come back.
Oh man, this guy's got some attitude. Don't even worry. This is Grover's time to shine.
You gotta pay the ferryman. Watch this. Yo, my friend. What up? Okay, guess not. Look, you like dead people, right? I got a few dead people you might recognize. Check this out. Jackson, Grant, and look who's joining the party. Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Look, you give us a boat ride, you take the money, and you get an interior decorator because it is too depressing in here, all right? There you go. It was $170.
Wait.
The drug.
So, yeah. Once that's over, the boatman takes them on a trip straight to Hades' castle.
As far as I go.
They have a little encounter by the door, but it ends up sorting itself out.
What were those things?
Hellhounds.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should feed them.
They sense the presence of another animal.
Great, you smell goat.
The satyr. I haven't had a satyr.
I don't like where this is going. Stop! Stop! No! Please, Larry, you don't understand. You don't know what you're doing here.
So now after all this time, we finally get to meet Hades, and he is... Ooh. Oh no.
You have your father's looks. Always the lucky side of the family.
Wait a minute. You're Hades?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't expect you to look like this, man. Kind of stylish, I like it.
Would you prefer that I looked like this?
There was honestly no need for that. Grover just said it was a good look for you. I disagree with him, for obvious reasons, but that's what he said.
I'm not the lightning thief. I don't have the bolt. I never did.
Why did you come here then? Now give me the bolt, or say goodbye to your mother!
Oh yeah, Percy's mom. I totally forgot about her. I mean, no one's mentioned her in ages, and let's be honest, no one really cared besides Percy.
Percy!
So the reason Percy didn't realize he had the bolt the entire time was because there was a thin piece of fucking leather in the way?
I don't know how that got there. It's not even my shield.
No. Luke rigged it. He put the bolt in his shield and used us.
How would you know that? Also, you just gotta love this ADR.
Put the bolt in his shield and used us.
So, plot twist. Hades is actually gonna kill them. I'm pretty sure you guys have weapons, so why aren't you using them? Percy has his pen sword, Annabeth can materialize weapons at will, and Grover can yell stereotypical black guy dialogue. I mean, you have options here. So, plot twist, Persephone is actually a good guy and saves them.
Alright, come on. Go on, give it back.
He won't remember a thing.
How would you know that?
Take the bolt and your mother. Only 3. There are 4 of you. Each pearl transports only a single person.
So, no one thought about that before we got here.
You will have to stay.
All right, I'll stay. You 3 go.
What?
No. I've achieved my quest. I'm staying here.
No. I've trained for situations like this.
Guys, knock it off. I'm staying because I'm the protector.
Grover, come on.
Look, man, I don't want to hear it. Just go. It's my duty. It's what I'm meant for.
Everybody agrees pretty fast, and really, what was Grover doing for us anyway? I also love how Annabeth is the only one who doesn't volunteer herself to stay. That's like the one smart thing she's done all movie. They use the pearls to return home so they can give the lightning bolt back to Zeus. Grover stays in hell, but he gets laid, so everyone's happy. But wait, it's not over yet. Luke shows up for the final fight.
I'm the lightning thief.
A brawl is surely brewing. Now go!
He kicks Percy's butt, which is always fun. He steals the bolt, flies up to the top of the Empire State Building, and decides to shoot down a helicopter. The next 5 minutes are just an extremely watered down superhero versus supervillain fight. If you've seen a superhero movie, you've seen this done 100 times better. Percy does learn how to become a waterbender, so that's pretty neat.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Yeah. I think I am the son of Poseidon.
Knockout!
So after murdering Luke, he gets back to the squad and they make it to Olympus. They give Zeus his weapon, and I don't even. The end of the movie just feels so boring because none of the actors care and clearly want this to be over, so it just makes it feel like it drags on and on for the rest of the movie. So anyway, Percy has an angsty conversation with his dad. The movie cuts back to the camp. Grover is there for some reason. I have no idea how he got back. Percy and Annabeth have some final cringeworthy dialogue.
Welcome home.
Whoa, whoa, wait.
First rule of battle strategy. Don't ever let your opponent distract you.
And then the movie ends. Now, if you're a person who likes good movies, I know what you're thinking. This movie sucks. But you're wrong. This movie is amazing. The main goal of many movies is simply to entertain. And to me, this movie does that perfectly. I took great pleasure in seeing every weird attempt this movie made in being cool, or charming, or dramatic, immediately failed. Despite the fact that this movie was based on a well-known and loved book series, it just ends up looking like a Disney Channel original movie. And that is so funny to me. But this movie didn't start its production like a Disney Channel movie. For one thing, it had a budget of about $90 million. So there were at least a couple people who wanted this movie to be good. Too bad no one else seemed to care though. It didn't even make its money back here in America. People in other countries seemed to like it though. And how could they not, when they're watching quality entertainment like this?
Get down on it. Get down on it. Come on and get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh, there it is.